Nico and Guilain from Don't Penny Games. I'm the localization manager, and he is the game developer for Don't Penny Games. Sounds good?
That sounds good.
Yeah, what? We're here with you at Digital SN. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes for Don't Penny Games. What we do to bring in games from everywhere into the French market. That's my job, so I'll be talking about some of those games because that's a big part of our business as well. And Guilain?
What we are cooking for next year, so the games we create here with many authors and many designers.
Yes, so you get a kind of a look behind the scenes at what our boss doesn't want us to tell you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all the secret project.
Yes, all the secret projects.
Not supposed to talk here.
Yes.
Okay. I think we can start with
Let's
a little something.
Ouais.
Maybe something horrible.
Something horrible?
Yeah.
Like horror? Like, what the first game we're going to talk about is one game that we're translating into French, and it's The Horror Attack. I'm going to try
with
and
the
put
French,
it here.
with the French accent in the name of the game.
Yes, it's included in the name. The Horror Attack. The Horror Attack originally was a game designed, I think, in Italian by Pendragon Studios and called Heroes versus Monsters, which we took and relooked a little bit, but we've kept the game mostly as it is because the art in it is awesome. And so I'm going to open this one. And up. In this game, this is one of our party games for, I think,
2 to 8.
For 2 to 8 players,
Yeah.
ages 8 and up, and 10 to 30 minutes games. And in this game, the players will have to play either heroes or monsters that are set in sort of the classic horror movie environments.
The Hammer movie, for example.
Yes, like the Hammer movies, and also Dracula and Sherlock Holmes and everything.
Let's show. So, for example, let's try to find a monster on this one. Oh, I like this one.
And I really like the art on the cards.
Let's see.
They're very neat. So it's just to show you really quick, we're going to during the game, you'll have each card is a character, a different character, and you'll have to play each of your characters in front of you in order to get a certain number of points. Because if you see in the corner, Dracula, for instance, is worth 2 darkness points, whereas Le Gamin des Rues is worth 1 light point.
Yeah, for example, Sherlock Holmes is 2 light.
Yes. And the idea of the game is to play as many cards of the color you want so that you can accomplish one of your secret objectives, because some characters will try to be the monsters and some characters will try to be the heroes. So this is, for instance, you'll get a secret objective card that tells you which color to play, which side to play, and you get extra points if you can play one of the 2 monsters for this one that's on there, and then you have equivalent one for the heroes.
And of course you don't know who is who, and
yes, so it's a hidden identity sort of. Although as a player starts playing more and more heroes, you realize he's probably a hero, or another player is going to play lots of monsters and then realize that they're a monster.
So in this game it's monster versus heroes, and in a very Hammer style
yes.
movie, but there is something more.
Yes, there's another one, and it's going to come a little later, but we have it almost ready. Is The Horror Attack encore. The Horror Attacks again.
The sequel.
The sequel. But this one is set in the Cthulhu mythos. And each of the games is actually 2 different decks. The first one has a Dracula and sort of horror classic deck, and a Sherlock Holmes deck. And the other one has 2 Cthulhu-inspired deck. One on the horror Dunwich Village, you know, Dunwich Village with the deep ones, and things like that. And the other one is the Mountains of Madness, where you go into a crazy city in the Antarctic.
This monster, of course, guy from Innsmouth.
Professor
Cthulhu
of
with
Doge.
this guy.
Yeah.
The artwork is amazing. I'm looking for the big guy, of course.
I don't think he's in the
It's not on this one. You can fight a penguin.
Penguin. I was just talking to Orkenspalter before,
Best.
and they're saying there's an eerie number of games that have penguins in them. Beware the penguins.
Penguin are the worst.
So The Horror Attack is a game that's coming out by Company Games in French, and that's coming out I think next month.
And
then the extension will be ready for Cannes of 24 next Cannes.
I noticed a thing. It's the same boxes. The size of the boxes is the same.
It's the
And if you know what we do as a game company, maybe you will notice it's the same box size than this one. It's because we are launching a whole collection of game with the same size and the same principles. A very easy game to learn, can play with a lot of players, and only cards, no tokens or no
dice or things like
more
that.
dice. So it's not cheap, not expensive.
Yes, and it's easy to
Okay.
carry the box
Yeah.
around. You can travel with it.
So
And all, you're right. All the games have sort of the same theme. It's offbeat humor and just card games, party card games for a bunch of players and for like 15, 20-minute games.
So we have this one, of course. We have Don't Wake Up Cthulhu, which is one of the releases we have these days for the.
This is coming out right now, yes,
Right
and
now.
it's present at Essen, and you can play it on Tabletopia right now.
Horror Attack, and it's my part. I have more games to announce in this
Yes.
collection. First, we can start, of course, by
Ouais.
this amazing thing. It's my favorite game here. It's the expansion for Don't Drop the Soap,
Yes.
but it's
Don't Drop the Soap, which was one of our games from last year, which you might have
it's an
heard about.
expansion. We came with a box, a soap box.
In case you dropped the soap too much, it's better to have a box
with
for it.
a new cards inside. So there are like
I think there's
20,
18, 20 cards.
20 cards, more situations, but you can put your basic game into this box and have a very nice item to show to. It's in your living
And
room.
if you hate the game, you can still use the soap
you
box.
can. It's a wonderful one. Okay. I like this one. It's a perfect gift for Christmas.
Yes.
Okay, so now here comes my my part, and we are expanding this collection of small boxes, and the first small box will be released next year. It's a game in French. It's called Ça suffit. It's enough.
That's enough. Ouais.
That's enough. And this game sends you back to school. Remember when you went to school, maybe you were not so nice with the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you did some stupid things and
Pranks in the classroom,
Pranks in the
throwing
classroom,
airplanes, doing all
so
kinds
in
of
this
things.
game, you are playing either as a student, either as a
Teacher?
teacher.
Yeah.
It changes every turn, and someone did a prank, did a stupid thing,
Okay.
and of course, it's enough for the teacher, and the teacher wants to know who did the stupid thing,
Who's guilty? Yeah.
was guilty.
Uh-huh.
So the game, it's a very fast and very funny game, where you are playing cards for discussing you and make accusation on the others.
Oh, you're saying it's not me.
It's not me, it's you,
It's
it's
him,
you, it's you,
right.
it's him, it's him. So you play this card, and during this time the teacher is counting, but you don't know when she will stop the counting.
Oh, okay.
And at the end of the counting, the guilty, so the one who is designing
Uh-huh.
the one who seems guilty will take a punishment.
Oh, okay. Even if
Okay.
it's...
Even if it's not him, of course it's not him. So it's the basic of the premise of the game.
Okay.
It's more complicated, not very much, because you can have special powers. For example, you can be the teacher favorite.
The teacher's pet.
The teacher's pet with a very nice face. And
you just look innocent.
You look so innocent.
So it's not going to be you.
So maybe you have more cards to begin with.
Okay.
Kind of stuff. Or you can have a very, very rich dad. And at the end, and he can say, "Oh, you punished my son. Or did you?"
Or you can threaten the teacher.
You can threaten the teacher. You can threaten another teacher.
Sounds like a very moral game.
It's a very, very moral game. And it came, so it's only cards, of course. Yes. And the graphics send you back to school with this kind of graphics. So it's a work in progress, not finished yet, but it can give you a spirit of the game. It's
so he's saying, no, it was me, it was
him.
him.
Yeah, he's accusing people, yeah. I like especially this one. I think it's...
Oh, she's the crybaby.
She's the crybaby, yeah. But you have like 20 characters, like the crybaby, the brute, the bully.
The bully.
The bully, this one.
The skater.
This one is the...
Oh, like the daredevil?
Daredevil, yeah.
Daredevil.
This guy is, okay, if I'm punished, I take a lot of punishment, but if I'm not, I'm lose everything.
Yes.
So
okay.
it's you can try to be...
Oh, all or nothing.
All or nothing, yeah. The game comes to an end when you have 6 punishment, and we see who has the less punishment. So you don't want to have a lot of punishment at the end of the game. And of course, the one who is punished becomes the teacher for the next one.
Okay, so when you lose a round, you're the teacher
next time. And we create a lot of situations for the teachers. The teacher has cards with some example of situations, but you can invent your own.
Your own.
So it was
to say what the prank was.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure to invent these stupid things. So it's a game from Alexandre Poyé. And it's a special game because it took part to the club contest. It's a creation contest, very famous in France, and he was one of the winners this year.
Okay.
So we saw the game and say, "Oh, it's wonderful! We want this. We want this game."
Yes.
So this game will be released next year, I think, in the first half.
Yeah, it's still in the alpha stage.
Yeah, the thing is with the COVID, of course, every publishing date, release date is
all the releases.
Yeah.
But hey, we're doing our best. We're doing our best.
Yeah, we're doing the best.
Yeah.
But so this one, it's ça suffit. That's enough.
That's enough.
In English, for next year, and same spirit, different song.
Okay.
We have now a game called Whoot.
Whoot?
Whoot. Yeah, what's Whoot?
Whoot? What is Whoot?
Whoot, it's a musical game where you don't play music.
Okay.
Okay. It's same size, so small box, and it's a musical game where the musicians are not there, and so you are taking their seat in a big orchestra.
Okay.
And trying to do music.
Because you're replacing a musician.
Yeah, you're replacing a musician. So don't worry, you don't need to know anything about music.
Okay, good.
Just play this game. So what do you do in this game? I have some cards. So it's not the graphics from the game, it's not the artwork from the game, it's just example cards. You have this card called Whoot, or sometime double Whoot, or sometime triple Whoot, etc. And one player is launching the music. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and point someone on the left, on the right. It's give the indication of the
direction of play.
Direction of play. When you are the one who is supposed to play, you have to play a card. If I play a Whoot, the next player has to play a card.
Okay.
But if I play a double Whoot, it's not the next, it's the one after.
Okay.
Etc.
Oh, so the order of play kind of changes as the music goes.
When you are supposed to play, you have to play fast. You have a few seconds to play. If you don't play, it's a blank. Of course, if you have a blank in the orchestra, it's not good. So you take a false note,
Okay.
and if you have too much false note, you lose.
Okay.
And that's enough. If you have 6 false notes, it's the end of the game, and we see who has the less.
Who has the fewest bad notes?
Bad notes.
Ouais.
That's the basic of the game.
Okay.
So you have to play fast. You have to play the right card. If you are not supposed to play and you play, it's
because you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
If I play a triple
So
Whoot,
that's
I'm
the
not going to
basic.
say
But
it's your turn. You're going to have to
here
think by
comes the
yourself
funny
that
part.
it's me.
Because the game has 8 levels.
8 levels. Mm-hmm.
You have cards at the beginning of the. If you finish all your cards, if you play all your cards, the music went white. Everybody is happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to the next level. So you start level 1 and you go level 2. At level 2, things getting more and more intense.
Okay.
For example, you have less time to play. At the beginning you have like 10 seconds, this time you have 8 seconds to play. And this time we can start to play with the other side of the card.
Oh yeah.
Called the Woochie.
The Woochie.
The Woochie says, okay, it's still another player, 1, 2, 3, 6 away, but in the other side, and we change the
direction of play.
The direction of play.
It reminds me of a game called Fizzbuzz.
Yeah, it's based on Fizzbuzz.
Yeah.
And so after you have rules like you cannot play the same card than the one before, and it's getting more and more difficult.
Yes, it gets more
intense.
intense.
It's very funny. It's a very funny game. The artwork is not ready yet, so I won't show you things. But the spirit is, imagine if Jimi Hendrix was playing with a classical orchestra, or if maybe Madonna was playing the harp, and Lemmy from Motorhead was playing violin.
Metallica does it.
Yeah. That's the spirit of the game. So it's Whoot, and it will be released next year. I don't know exactly when, but
yeah, actually, it's an alpha stage.
It's an alpha stage.
Finalizing the game.
We still have artwork to make and everything. The next game I think is for you.
C'est moi.
It's Godzilla.
Yes. Alors that's something.
Oh, I forgot. Whoot is a game from Romain Guaresi.
Yes.
Important to tell.
Sorry. Yes. So next, that's also right now is in the boat, like I say all the time. I feel is a Godzilla Total War that we.
It fits on the boat.
It fits. They put one on every boat.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, because then it becomes as big as Godzilla, and so you can only put one on the boat because then the boat sinks. No, okay. Godzilla Total War is a game that we're doing the French version of the game, and we do it with Gen X Games, which is a company from Spain, who are also at SN. So go visit them, and I think they have Godzilla Total War on Tabletopia, and you can ask for a demo. And this game, it's I don't want to say it's kind of like a game of Uno, but it's the idea that somebody puts a card and you have to put a card to beat the card, and if you are able to basically have the best card, then you're gonna give damage to the opponents. And what's great about the game, I'll just show you the bugs real quick. It's too big for the camera. No background, yes. And in the game, you can play up to 12 players.
Whoa.
And everybody gets a kaiju.
Everybody is a Godzilla?
Everybody is a kaiju. And there's all kinds of different kaijus. Up. You get all his friends. Zilla, Kamakuras. That's the English version, because like I said, it's still on the boat. So I don't have the French version yet, but it's coming. King Caesar, you have all the famous guys from the movies, from the early Japanese movies, not from the more recent movies.
Yeah, the good ones.
Yes. Well, no, I don't want to say that. I like all the movies. The game is also more or less the same size of the box, and the idea is the same. It takes one of our universes, and it's pretty fast games, simple rules that you can carry around and play with your friends. Basically, to show you the instant cards, so you basically have to get the best cards.
I can maybe show and here.
And of course you'll have special maneuvers, you can give penalties, you can change the direction of play, inflict special wounds. Là aussi, hop. And so everybody has their little board that you have to assemble, and
each kaiju play differently, or is it
no, they have a different number of hit points. Okay. No, they play the same. But yes, what they all do is that when you inflict a lot of damage, they get really angry, and so there's it's Godzilla herself. Is Godzilla a she? Is a he? Is a he?
So it.
And when he gets really angry, he becomes red, and he has more hit points.
Okay.
So that's another one of the games that we're doing into French, and that is on the boat and it's coming for a release. Originally we had said early November, but it's probably going to be late November or around there.
Well, okay. So the next game is back to creation here. It's a game based on a comic book, a French comic book, but maybe you heard of it. It's called Silex and the City.
Silex and the City.
Silex and the City.
Yep.
I think I have one here. Silex and the City.
Yes.
Very, very good comic. And so basically it's a satire of our lives, our times, but in the prehistory.
A satire of our times in prehistory. Oh, it's
like so better English.
Sorry. It's like Sex and the City, but if you were all cavemen.
Yeah. And so the game, I can show you a mock-up of the box now. Yeah.
Because that's also an alpha
so
stage.
in this game, it's same principle, smaller box, just card. You play as prehistoric men and women, and you don't want to progress. You don't want to evolve. You don't want to invent anything at all.
We're lazy
so
gamer.
In this game, you try not to be the best, not to be the clever one. You try to stay stupid and to stay in your cave and doing some mammoth hunting and everything. So basically it's a game, not Uno, but like I don't know the word in English. It's called a jeu de pli, and you don't want to win. Each time you have to try to beat a card, and you don't want to win. If you win, you invent something. And if you invent something, it give you penalties to the rest of the game and less points. So and of course the designer are Fabien, Riffaud, and Juan, but the artwork is made by Jules, the artist from the comic. So it's very nice to participate into the game.
Nice.
Yeah. And it'll be very fun. So that's our collection of small boxes for next month.
For the next few months,
Next few months. Maybe it's time to go to something bigger.
Something bigger?
Yeah.
You want a bigger box?
Bigger box.
Oh, you wanted to talk about Vampire?
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
A big and full box.
So.
Okay. This one?
Yeah. Because that's part of one of the French versions that we did, and it's also presented in Essen right now. And everybody's really happy with the game, ourselves included, but the people at Nice Game Publishing, who did the game originally, called Vampire the Masquerade Heritage, where this is a legacy game where you're going to play a clan of vampires through 700 years of history, of human history, as you manipulate history from behind the shadows. And it uses the lore of the role-playing game Vampire the Masquerade, because it's a very rich lore, especially if you play Dark Ages, and we're both the rôlistes. We both play role-playing games. And but even if you don't, it's
Seems
kind of a way into that universe, and because you get to play this lineage of vampires throughout hundreds of years of human history, and as you play, because it's a legacy game, you're going to influence sort of how the world evolves under your dark influence. And I want to open the box because there's so much stuff in it. It's a funny noise. That's the manual. And this one is the French version, so I'm super happy about it.
Artwork of the game.
We this was part of the Kickstarter version, I think. So there was some very nice artworks of people that you might know if you have actually played the game, but the artwork is great anyway. And you have all kinds of stuff to keep track of your campaign.
It's like a character sheet from the...
It looks like a vampire character sheet, but it's different. All the stuff on it is different.
Okay.
And then lots of stickers, of course, because as you hire new vampires into your clan and you win games or lose games, you're going to be able to add abilities to your vampires. So there's some stickers there. The Chronicle book is where you keep track of your campaign and note who won each game and which boards you're going to use. There's lots and lots of stuff in there. Lots of tokens and little beads.
The artwork is gorgeous.
The artwork is very good. And the main thing, let me think, is this one. No, it's this one.
So much stuff.
It's tightly packed with cards. And in the Kickstarter version, they came pre-sleeved. And these are all the vampires that you can hire to come into your game. And I'm probably just going to spoil one maybe really quick. There's a whole bunch of cards, and they're sleeved because, and you can pull it out, nobody's going to sue us or anything, I don't think. Because when you hire the vampire or win some games, you can flip the card, and it has maybe different abilities. So that's it. Yeah. Just a little spoiler.
And you can stick.
And then you can add some as you progress in the game. But the idea, and I'm just gonna keep taking lots of boxes and cards and stuff out because there's multiple boards. So you have a basic board where you can. This is where you see your missions on top, and you have your vampires that you can hire for this turn. It's like your Adventure Row in a Clank game or your Market Row in Cowboy Bebop. That's the cards you can pick for this turn. But then the game plays on 3 different boards at the same time, because the vampires will have an influence over basically the war between order and chaos, in a sense, between the nobles and the rabble, and between
and each new game you make, you can change this board.
It's not every game, but as you play a few games, every now and then we'll switch this one with, or like, so this is the physical territory one. Those are all really great. I don't know if you can. Like, this is the map of Europe that you start with, and
so, spoiler, you start with Europe, you finish with the world.
Exactly. But then the world is actually the very end, so don't show too much. But then you'll also switch. Before you switch to this one, you'll switch to maybe another one, but then at the same time you have multiple boards, so this one will switch with another one after a few games and so on. And so your actual board changes as you play the game more and more. But of course you can just play a straight game with the current state of the game.
Yes, you can play as a standalone.
Yes.
And how long does it take to finish a game?
A game is actually not that long. One game is about an hour.
Okay.
But of course, the entire campaign is 21 games. It's 7 eras of 3 games each. And this is almost here because it was a Kickstarter from last year. And the backers will get theirs very, very soon. That's why everybody's talking about it in Essen. But we will also have the retail version available early 2021 for everybody in France. But if you kickstarted back this game, you should have your boxes pretty soon.
Before Christmas.
Yeah. Before Christmas, yes.
Nice.
Because that's a mascarade sample. Okay.
So the next game we're going to talk about, it's a game from a French designer. It's called Gaël. He's called Gaël de Robien, and it will bring you to a wonderful city called Venice.
Venice.
Okay. And there is a clue here of what's expecting you there, because we wanted to make a game, a post-apocalyptic game, but every post-apocalyptic game takes part in the same town, the same. It's always the same thing.
Russia.
Always in America, always in London, or in this big city. So we wanted to have something different with this one, and so we have a post-apocalyptic game set in Venice.
In Venice.
Yeah.
In Italy.
In Italy.
Okay. Is the city still there?
More or less.
More or
the
less.
thing is, there were no zombies, no invasion or something. It was just the nature itself.
Nature itself is what caused the city to be. Is it abandoned?
So the city was abandoned, but not fully abandoned. The thing is, because the nature came back very strongly, the civilization crashed and everything, and the city of Venice went under the water, was submerged for centuries.
For a long time. Okay.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Just before that, people say, oh, there are so many treasures in the city. We cannot let people steal this treasure, even if it's underwater. So they put something, a garden.
A garden.
Yeah, and the garden is the name of the game. It's the Black Doge.
The Black Doge of Venice.
It's this guy.
Ooh.
Some kind of.
That's artwork from the game?
Yeah, it's one of the artwork of the game. It's very. See here. Okay. And so centuries later, the water is going
lowered again.
Lowering again. So the city is now free to be explored and can go inside. And people around the city, they survive. But of course they lose everything. They lose all the technology, the progress, everything. And so they start a new civilization. And what Venice is famous for?
Canals. Palazzos.
And
masks. Masks.
Okay, just imagine you, in few centuries later, you find a mask in the mud. And you say, the ancient one.
The masks.
The gods must be like this.
The signs of an ancient civilization of
so
gods.
There are these tribes who organize from mask. So you are one tribe from the Doctor de la Peste.
Doctor de la Peste. The
You
plague
have,
doctors.
you have one tribe from the
Harlequins.
And everything. So each tribe in the game has a different lore and different aspect based on from the mask, and all these tribes have one common goal: go inside Venice and find the big treasure supposed to be there. But for one tribe, maybe the big treasure is a weapon. For another one, maybe it's just a way to know things, to repair things. And everyone has a different
They're all looking
objective.
for different things. Yeah.
So the game is a mix between card game and exploration game.
Okay.
The exploration game is you have a board made from tiles, and each turn you can reveal. You can see two tiles, look at two tiles, and reveal one.
Reveal one of them.
Reveal one of them and make an effect if there is an effect on the tile.
Okay.
And the other one
is
you put your
is where you go.
your token. It's where you go.
Is where you So
you have this choice every turn of which style do I reveal?
Which direction do I go to explore next?
Okay. And so the city, of course, suffered a lot. I'll show you this.
What kind of skeleton is that?
Maybe there was some big things into the canals.
That's very scary.
Yeah. Oh, another one I like this one.
That's is a giant shrimp with bat wings.
You just imagine the big cocktail. That's the landscape you can expect into this game.
That's what Venice looks like.
So there is this exploration part, and you also have cards. You can play cards and have different effects. One of the effects is to call to the black Doge, and the black Doge is going to hurt the other ones.
Okay. Oh, you can.
But you have to guess where they are. So there is a little memory aspect.
You have to guess where the other players are.
Yeah.
Because since they're on the tile you have not revealed, you don't know.
Course. But if you went there, maybe you know what's there.
If you've seen it before, you
so each tile has a number from 2 to 7, and you can remember there are 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5.
Okay.
So you have to remember. It's a very tense game. It's not so long, half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. But it's a very intense game. There is a memory aspect, but it's really not the main component of the game. It's more guessing than memory sometimes. And you have a lot of choices in the game. What do you reveal? Where do you go? You have this mechanic of your cards in your hand are also your hit points.
Okay.
So there is this thing.
You have to choose. Do I want to get this effect, or do I want to stay safe and not lose my hit points?
You have some treasure to find in the game. Can give you a very, very powerful.
You have artifacts.
And there is the treasure. The treasure is one tile at the center of the city, and you don't know what is this tile, which number. So, but when you explore the city, you can have an idea. Maybe it's a 5, maybe it's a 4. Maybe it's
and as you keep exploring, you get a better idea because you know that there's already 4 5s there, so maybe that's the 5th 5 could be where the treasure is.
So you have one try. Each player has only one try, and you can try to guess where the treasure is. If you find the treasure, it's worth a lot of points at the end, and there is a escape the city phase.
Okay, getting the treasure is not enough to win.
Yeah, it's like a mini game where you have to escape the wars.
There's an end phase. Getting the treasure is not enough to win. You don't.
It's not enough. Most of
it's a good thing.
The time it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you can also win by hurting the others or just finding artifacts in the city. There are many ways to win and many ways to end the game, to start the end, but the end is always some kind of mini game
where you have to run out of the city before
it's a very funny
it gets flooded back into oblivion.
So the game is almost finished, mostly finished. I would say 90%. The artwork is still in progress also, so we don't show everything for now. And I hope the game will be released in the first half of next year.
First half of next year.
Maybe more summers than.
That's pretty quick. It's coming soon.
It's really
we've been testing this game
a lot. We do a lot of testing of this game. So that was Black Doge, and the next game is a different universe, really different universe. Maybe it's time for Tsukuyomi.
For Tsukuyomi, and I don't have the original books, but I don't have the books, so I can't really show anything. But it's about as big. Tsukuyomi. We lost the old books. Let me tell you about it. Tsukuyomi originally was a game a few years ago that was published by King Raccoon Games. from Germany, and is a game by Felix Merticat, and it's awesome. It's a huge game where you have a modular vision of, well, a long time ago, an evil spirit called Tsukuyumi, who was a white dragon, was imprisoned by ancient Japanese sorcerers into the moon. Okay?
Of course.
But the problem is that somebody on Earth, we have been attacking the environment and everything, and somehow the moon cracked, and Tsukuyumi sort of stirred inside the moon, and the moon crash landed on Earth.
So the moon is an egg.
The moon was like a prison egg for a dragon, and it crashed onto the Earth, and it vaporized most of the Pacific Ocean. And the players are on the board, which is like the Pacific Ocean, and we each have a different tribe of either humans or mutated animals or insects, and we're all going to try and survive in this very hostile environment, or try to defeat the hordes of Oni demons that are coming out of the moon that is still lying there in the middle of the board and are trying to overtake and destroy everything. It's a very big game that each player plays very different asymmetrical game, and with very different powers and everything, and that was the original game, which had cardboard standees as your units, because it's kind of a war game where to attack other creatures and move your units around, you basically use cards. You have action cards every round. There's no dice at all whatsoever. Each unit has a value, an attack value, and a certain number of hit points, and you just compare the units, so it's very quick. You don't need to roll any dice. If you have more better units, then you'll win. But so that was the original game, and then they decided it would be a lot better if it had miniatures. So they did a Kickstarter last year for the same game, because the game is really, really good by itself. But for the Kickstarter, they built the miniature versions of all the units in the game. So each faction has a different set of miniatures. There's tons of stuff in the games, and they're on the boat. But I don't have my copy yet.
It's a really big boat.
And it's a big boat, this one too. It has Godzilla, it has vampires, it has crazy white dragons that are invading the Earth. It's a big boat, but it's coming soon.
Nice.
Because I want my box of Tsukuyumi. So stay tuned with Don't Panic Games, because we'll play some Tsukuyumi and some vampire in next month or so.
For the next game, I'm going to show you few things. So let's see this. So the next game, it's called a bomber dice, and bomber dice should remind you something.
Well, there was a video game.
Yeah, that's the
back when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's the same spirit. Basically, it's kind of Bomberman in a board game. Okay. You are playing aliens, like these little fellows here. Nice. And they are playing a sport game on Earth, but not on Earth today, on Earth every time. Every time.
Throughout time.
Throughout time, yeah. So you can be in a map on the Western, you can be at the prehistoric times.
Okay.
I can show you, for example, the prehistoric times.
Dinosaurs. Oh yes, there are little
it's
dinosaurs.
It's not the actual size of the map, but so basically, what do you do in this game? It's a very quick game, very fast game. You have to think very quickly. Where you are throwing these dice, so it's a prototype, it's not the artwork from the game. The dice have 3 different faces: the round one, square one, and the triangle.
Okay.
When you throw the dice, and after you can play some actions on the board. One of the actions is just moving, so you move straight, follow line or
okay.
Everything. The second action you can take is take one of your dice and put it around you.
Okay.
And the third one, you can activate one type of dice, like all the square, all the
and
one
when you
one,
activate
all the
them,
triangle.
when you
And when you activate them, they are going to explode and do some damage to the other players.
to the ones that are next to it, or
Then, so it depends of the face of the
on the
dice.
type
If
of
you
bomb.
have a 1-1, it's just around the square all around the one where the bomb was. If it's a square, it's the line.
Okay.
Just
Both the
both
orthogonal lines. Yeah.
If it's a triangle, it's the diagonals.
The diagonals.
Diagonals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it's the basic of the game. You win points by hurting the others. You lose some points, of course.
You win points by throwing
no
bombs in their
eliminations.
faces.
Because we are very, very bad guys here, we put a limited time to play. So yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, so it depends of if you play with kids, you can have more time.
Change
but
the timer.
basically, you have 15 seconds to play.
You have 15 seconds to decide where you're gonna put your bomb to
Yeah.
blow up all your friends and not blow yourself up in the process,
Yeah,
because
so
you
it's
can
a
get
very,
hurt by
very-
your own bomb.
You have to think very quickly to what you are going to do next. And we also put some powers. So each alien have different abilities. So some are the same for everyone. You have four powers. Who are the same for everyone, and one unique, only for you.
Each player has one
Like
unique and
for
four
example, some
general.
can go through obstacles, or some can maybe change
The
a
type
die,
of bomb.
a type of bomb and everything. So it's a very, very intense game. And so we have some asymmetrical aspect with the aliens, but also with the map. There are 4 maps in the game. So each map is modular. You can have a big size, a small size. You can change the layout of the
Is it
game
based on the number of players?
based on the number of players. But you also have some things happening on the map. For example, if you play on the desert, it's this one. I can't show you there, but there are some cactus.
Some cacti, yeah.
Yeah, when a bomb hits a cactus, the cactus becomes a bomb and explodes.
Oh no, all the spikes everywhere.
So you can have a very, very chain reaction.
Chain reaction of exploding cacti.
If you play on the ice world, it's a frozen world.
Yeah, you can.
When you throw a bomb, it's moving. It slides, and you slide too. You cannot. you slide to until you reach an obstacle when you move. Very hard one to play.
Yeah.
In the first prehistoric one, you have these time anomalies, and sometimes you throw something and it
appears somewhere else.
And so you can use this to move fast or to throw bombs.
Or to throw bombs
on the map.
Across the map.
And there is the last one. It's not a desert, a volcano map, and you have some hit points. So if you put a bomb on it, the bomb explodes and you don't have to activate
so
it.
like lava, if you throw lava on the
And of course you don't want to be on the lava.
Yes. Well, it's hot.
So each map is different, and each game is really different because of the powers of the map.
And it's for how many players?
So it's not fixed yet, but it's between 2 and 5.
2 and 5. Okay.
I hope 5, at least 4, maybe 5. I'm not sure of that. And it's a game from Anthony Guillen and Jean Pinot.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's a very nice game. Yeah. And I can show another one because we tried.
I do like that.
Under the helmet, each alien has a very, very funny thing. We have this. We have an alien who comes from an ice planet.
From an ice cream planet.
But it's an ice cream planet, so it's with ice cream head and with the cake on it and everything. It's a very funny one.
Yep.
So it was Bomber Dice, and the next one I think is going to something very small, very different. Yeah.
Yes.
I have to tell the story of this game because it's quite unique.
Okay.
Last year in the Cannes Festival, at night there is this part. It's called the off, where the designer go to play in a big room and show the games to publisher and everything. It's quite a cool and open space.
All night long, everybody brings their prototype, and the editors
but
walk around and play the games.
Of course, it's very successful. So there was a big queue to wait to go inside.
Yes.
And I was waiting inside, and I was with my boss, with Cedric, and we were there for like 10 minutes, very long.
Oh yeah.
And say, it's boring. Does someone has a game I can play while I'm waiting? And the guy in front of us
said, yes, I do.
Said, yes, I do. That's how we found the next game. So we call it Fast and Fury.
Fast and Furry.
Yeah, with 2 R.
With 2 R's, yeah.
Because it's referred to this little creature. I don't have this. Yeah, here. No.
Ça, c'est celui-là.
Of course, they're on my desk. It's not funny if I'm not on my desk. So it's a. Do you remember playing tic-tac-toe?
Yes.
Okay, it's the premise of the game is tic-tac-toe.
Okay.
But it's a game, as I said, you can play while you are waiting in a queue.
Yeah.
So this one.
So were you standing?
Play with. It's a prototype, really not the full version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You play with these cards. They are all in it, and they have both sides.
Yeah.
So you take cards, and your goal is to make a tic-tac-toe before your opponent.
Okay.
But you can, of course, play.
Oh, and as you line them up.
Yeah, you can turn, you can go.
And you have to put down the colors that you need.
And the first who does that wins the game.
That's simple.
Very simple, very
nice.
easy to play.
Yeah.
It's the perfect game to play when you are in the subway or you are waiting, and the universe of the game will be very funny because we're going to play with this.
Because you're gonna line up those little furry creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I like them. They are so cute. They're so cute. Let's show this one here. For the French audience, it can remind you of all the advertisement from the 90s.
Yes, but I don't know if we're supposed to. C'est le fait qui se coule.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say it. I don't know.
And the thing is, they want to find it, so they try to reunite together. So it's a game from Christophe Bruno and the luckiest guy in the world.
Yeah, he was in the waiting line at the right time. Yes.
And it was perfect because it's really a game for this. So
goes out to all of you budding designers. If you're in that situation, never hesitate to.
And it will be in a very small and not expensive box. So
yes. It's not just 3 cards. There's probably
more
cards that you can line up.
A lot of cards, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So now we are going to talk about games. I have less to show you because they are more work in progress.
Even more than this.
Even more. This one I had to make the holes myself with my.
I can't tell.
You can't tell. It's
they're beautiful.
Perfectly one. As you can. So the next game, it's one of my favorite projects.
Okay.
Really, it's. I should not say that because I have plenty of projects with many designers, but this one has a special part for me. It's a very special one for me, and maybe not the perfect game to show in SM.
No, why not?
Why not? Because we are going to talk about Nazis.
Oh yeah, we're not even supposed to say that word.
But you are playing the good guy. Don't worry.
Okay.
So this game, we call it the Hunt. Sorry.
La Traque.
And La Traque in French. And we are just after the World War II. And there are these Nazi guys who flee all over the world.
Yes.
And you want to track them, to find them.
You want to bring them to justice.
Bring them to justice or not.
Or not.
That's the specific.
Okay.
In the game, you play one of the 4 factions in the game.
After the war.
Yeah. So you can play as the American faction, the Russian, the Soviet one, You can play as it's not really Israel, but it's a proto-Israel one.
Okay.
Tsar.
Mhm.
And you can play as a crime syndicate,
As a crime
bad
syndicate.
guys, like just like think of the Spectre in
Yes,
James
in
Bond.
James Bond movies.
Yeah. Each of these factions wants to find these Nazis guys.
Mm.
Mostly because they are bad guys and they want to arrest them and it's perfect. But in some way, maybe some of use. For example,
Werner von Braun.
Wow. The Americans have this Apollo program and they need some skills they don't have, like how to build a rocket or
all kinds of stuff.
yeah, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
he ran the Apollo program.
Each time you arrest a Nazi in a game, you have this choice of using him. Mostly you interrogate him to find other Nazis or to use him, you put him on a desk or in a prison, and it can give you knowledge and.
You put him to work. Either you interrogate him and judge him, or put him to work.
The Americans want to advance the Apollo program.
Mm-hmm.
The Russians, they have this big world revolution for the workers from all nations to unite, and so it can be useful to have these guys working for you. Tsar, it's a bit different. They don't want to work with Nazis. Mm-hmm. They just want to bring them to justice.
Yes.
And so this one are going to play more on arrest the Nazis and maybe to impeach the others, to use them.
Stop the others from using the Nazis.
They are more aggressive.
Okay.
And the last one, Spectre, is that bad guys.
Yeah. So
they're bad guys, so they're gonna use them to do some bad things. Okay. So each faction has a different gameplay, a different way to score and to win advantages
to make points
in the game.
Score.
The basic game, the basic of the game is you play. It's a deck building game, but it's a different kind of building game. A deck building game because you don't have a deck.
Okay.
It's a deck building game without a deck.
Yeah. There's a worker placement aspect.
And there's a worker placement. You have your agents. You send your agents, so you can send them to investigate. Mm-hmm. So they are going to take some cards. Like the cards can be documents, money because you need money. It can be archives. Mm-hmm. You can be some.
Witness testimonies.
Witness testimony. Right. Everything that can be used to find Nazis. Or they can go in one of the parts of the world, like South America, for example, and start to investigate on one particular Nazi. And so you play your cards under the guy, and when you have what's necessary to arrest him, you win the card. You have some points and everything, and the card goes into your deck.
Okay.
Like not in the deck, to your discard. Sorry. Like the other cards you earn in the game, are going to your discard. Every card you play is removed from the game.
Okay.
So your deck is just your discard.
Because sometimes you can go look for things in your discard.
Sometimes, but not very often. So your next turn deck is what's inside your discard.
Okay.
So and that's when, for example, if you arrest a Nazi, it goes into your discard. That's when you are going to play it. You have this choice of, do I keep him or do I use it, because it can give me some clues and everything. This is a very big choice every turn. To what do I need for next turn? Maybe I should not use my card this turn and have a lot of card next turn, and you can really. It's a very very deep game. Not difficult to play. It's very easy to play. The asymmetric aspects are huge.
Yes,
because really it's really different.
Plays really differently.
It plays differently, and we try to be. I won't say realistic. but we try to be true to history. Of course, there are some
Yes, because we
liberty from the real situations, but it's a serious game. It's not
well, it's both, but it's a game, but it's true that it's a touchy subject sometimes.
Yeah.
So we are making sure to be transparent with the information about, because it is a historical game,
yeah.
and the characters are real Nazis, right?
Yeah.
They're historical
And,
characters.
it's not really. It's work in progress. We're still discussing about it, but we try to use photography,
Right.
photo,
Right,
and
Evans.
everything must feel realistic.
Yes.
Of course, there are a small part of freedom because it's a game and we have to make it a game. But we really want to have something celebrating the work of this guy who hunts Nazis.
Okay.
That's why you can find some in the game. There are some famous Nazi hunters
Okay, that come help you.
that can help you. Yeah. So really, it's a touchy subject, but we try to be the most honest and careful with it.
It's a really good game.
Yeah, it's a very good game from 3 people. So it's Rémi Lamonnier, Renaud Cocombret, and Antoine Pham-Minh.
Cool.
My notes are very far. I cannot see very far. Okay. The next game.
What's next? Yeah.
It's more light.
It's lighter.
Lighter.
Well, although.
Yeah, and this game brings you to Paris. Yeah,
That's where we are.
that's where we are, and it's where you will be tomorrow.
It's where I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah, because it's about the catacombs of Paris, the famous catacombs of Paris, and so the game is called Catacombs.
Catacombs. What?
So in this game, you want to explore the catacombs of Paris, but you get lost into the catacombs of Paris.
It happens to every single time.
And the bad thing about the catacombs of Paris, there are some things.
Some things in it.
Yeah.
The worst thing is the line to get in, but not right now.
Yeah.
So it's
There are 2 things: vampires and undead.
Oh no!
So, and it's a hidden wall.
It's
Hidden
hidden identity.
Hidden identity.
Hidden, yeah.
So some of the players can start as vampire or undead, but you can also become one during the game.
Okay.
Okay. And if you are human, you just want to go outside to find the exit, and
Oh, you just want to get out of there
you
alive.
just want to get out. If you are a vampire, of course you want
want
them to fail, and you want a majority of vampires.
Oh, you want to spread the vampire blood
If
everywhere.
human lost, you check who has the most.
And if you're the undead, is it?
It's the same, but for the end.
Yeah. Are they undead? Are they? What are they? Are they zombies? Are they other vampires?
It's
or
most zombies. Yeah.
skeletons?
Not zombies. Skeletons.
Well, but skeletons in the catacombs. There's lots of them.
Well, it would be too easy to play
That's
a
true.
skeleton. So the game, one of the very interesting part for this game is just cards or maybe tiles. It's a very unique format of cards. It's
Okay.
like maybe
Square cards.
square cards like this.
And they might be tiles.
So it's a
in the
work in
end version.
progress.
Yeah.
It's not the definitive artwork, but it can give you a good impression of what we expect to do. So each card has some exit on it, so you can connect it
To the other-
to other one.
okay.
And when it's your turn, you just play cards, 1, 2, 3, on the table.
You play 3 cards.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And if you put a card on the table, you have to join the
The little bones there.
the little bones. So
Yeah.
you cannot play it anywhere, and cards have effects. Such just what you need. There is no
Okay.
text.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all
All
visual.
Yeah, it's all visual. Of course, there is
Well, that'll be easy to translate into English.
Yeah.
If there's no.
And there are plenty of effects from the cards, but if some are going to bring vampires on the table.
Okay.
One of the way they can win the vampires, if there are 4 vampires on the table, they win. So some can bring vampires, some can bring undead. Sometimes you are going to find stairs who go downstairs. The deeper you go, the closer you are to lose. If you go to the 4th level, you are dead.
What?
But it's easier to find the exit.
Oh, okay.
So
it gets more and more dangerous, but
more dangerous,
there's ways out.
Yeah. So you can find some people into the catacombs like junkies or spelog.
Spelunkers.
Yeah.
Spelunkers.
Okay. So you can find these people, very interesting people into the catacombs.
And zombies and vampires.
And zombies and vampires and what?
And that's where I'm going tomorrow.
That's where you're going tomorrow.
I don't want to go anywhere.
For the sake of the game, I think you won't return.
Yeah.
Because it means that there are really vampires.
Yes. Yeah. That'll sell. If I die there, it'll sell the game really well.
Of course, you can also find some useful stuff like this or this. So you can find some. That's not a bad. That's not a good thing.
Not the coffin. No.
The coffin. No.
Ooh, that's
an undead. And there are some. Okay, so let's try to find a vampire. Okay. You can find some bats.
Oh, there's a bat.
Spiders. So, junkie. Some antidotes. Sometimes you can heal yourself. Yeah.
Things that help you. I thought there was a pickaxe.
Mm.
Is the butcher's knife, the cleaver, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing.
Okay.
It's very useful to kill vampires.
Okay.
Oh, I cannot find a vampire. There are some. Find this. Stay in my boxes. Okay. So it's a game for 2 to 6 people.
Okay. So again
Again.
Is it how long does it take to play?
Half an hour to 1 hour. It depends on the.
It's a little longer than.
It really depends of what's happening
Okay. And you get to build.
I think it's half an hour.
And you get to build the catacombs.
Yeah, you can build the catacomb, but sometimes you can see the land can fall. There are plenty of things happening. It's interesting because the games tell a story and.
A story.
And it's
there's an emergent storyline.
And while you play, you become suspicious of who is who. There's some vampires, or there's some zombies. At the same time, the vampire, if he wants to win, he cannot be too nasty with the players because maybe he's helping the undead. And
yes,
so you have to be sure of what you are doing, and there is this balance to find. Between humans and the other side, the other faction. So it's catacomb, and I think it could be maybe for the end of the next year.
End of next year.
Maybe SM. I hope so.
Maybe in person next year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The next game I'm going to talk about, I won't show you anything because it's really work in progress, and we did not start the artwork, but the game is really interesting now. It's called Kidnapping.
Yes.
Because we lightly game.
Because we've been talking about Nazis and undead and vampires.
Okay.
And
so it's
all kinds of fun, happy stuff.
It's fun and happy stuff. It's
there's Cthulhu.
So in this one, someone is missing.
In Kidnapping.
Kidnapping.
Somebody's been kidnapped.
Somebody.
Yeah.
You can invent your own story.
Okay.
When we play, we say it's a little Kevin.
Little Kevin has been kidnapped. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So someone has been kidnapped. And you play either as a family either as the kidnapper, as the police, or as the press.
So there's four different not factions, but
words. Yeah, the game is fast. It's like 15 minutes maybe you play. So you're supposed to play many rounds, and have you play once in as a family, once as a police.
Oh, so you can each play
yeah.
one of the roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's a fully asymmetric game.
Yes, because
Each
everybody
side
has very different objectives.
It's almost as if you have 4 games into one.
Okay.
And that's the really interesting thing about this game. But the objective is the same for everyone: to win money.
To win money, even for the family.
Even for mostly for the family, because you don't like the one who is missing.
Okay.
So for the family wants money, of course, and the family is asking for money each turn. My son is missing. We need some money. Give us some money, and we can pay the money to the kidnapper. So the family is doing that,
help us bring in little Kevin
yeah.
back.
So for the family, it's the way they are going to make pity of themselves to have money.
Okay.
The gameplay is mostly that. For the kidnapper, of course, you want your the most money possible. But as a kidnapper, you are someone. We have some profiles of kidnappers.
Okay.
So you can be one relative. You can be maybe the.
Oh, you have an identity.
Yeah, you have an identity, and each identity has some traits.
Traits.
Yeah. Right. And also has a way of playing. For example, you have one who have a lot of debts, and so you need more money. So you cannot accept
less than a certain amount.
But other maybe cannot, for example, kill the kidnap person.
They're a moral kidnapper, and so they can't kill.
They can kill.
They can make the family believe that they're going to kill him, but they can't do it.
And the kidnapper has also some cards he can play. Mostly it's a way of pressure on the family, like I send you one finger.
Okay, you can cut off little bits.
Kind of thing. They can kill the hostage.
But then what happens? The game ends.
The game ends. It depends. If they are, if they are, if the police catch them or not. But you gain some you lose some honor.
Some honor.
Yes. Honor is a penalty on your score at the end of the game.
Okay.
The police just want to find who is the kidnapper.
Yeah, they don't want money.
They have way. They want also money. If they catch the kidnapper, they win big money as a reward. So they want to catch it. So they have some clues. Each time the kidnapper is going to contact the family, I'm going to talk about that. They can have a clue card and say, okay, the kidnapper has this trait or has not this trait, and can find.
They're trying to identify the identity of the kidnapper.
Yeah. And of course, there are some cards. So, for example, they can send a SWAT team if they think they know who is the kidnapper, and they can miss, of course. Wow. And the last one is one we are working on these days. Is the press.
Yes.
Basically, the press wants to sell newspaper.
Right.
So maybe they are going to interfere with the case and have reveal some things that you should not reveal, or maybe rising the pressure. So make things more dangerous for everyone.
Yes.
And they can make some bets on is going to be catch or not. The kid is alive, the kid is not alive. Okay. This kind of stuff. Very moral game.
It's sordid.
So these are the asymmetric parts.
Yeah.
The game is played in different fronts, and it's really like the movie. You know, the kidnapper is calling the family. And say, I have your kid, and if you want to find him back, you have to send me some money. And it's a bargain between the family and the kidnapper.
Yeah.
Of course, the time is very limited because
Limited, ouais.
he's not stupid. The kidnapper he knows if he is taking too much time, he's going to
get his phone.
So you have this.
That's going to get tracked.
This talking between the two. The two
Just
sides, and the police can interfere, the press can interfere, but basically it's a bargain between the two, and you can play some effect
to negotiate.
And it's so it's mostly a party game, but it's a role-playing party game. The game is very, very good if you play it.
Because when you have the actual conversation between the kidnapper and the family, you actually have to do the phone call.
Yeah, you do the phone call. Yeah.
Hello, this is.
So and of course we give some ways to play it if you don't want to be imaginative. You can say, okay,
there's suggestions on how to play it out.
You are this rich family and into the music business, for example. And have
but you can make your own stories.
But you can make your own story. But we are giving you ways to improvise around this. And so it's a very unique game. I don't know any game like this. And so it's work in progress, but I hope it will be released next year.
Moi, because there's some of mine that you don't have on your list.
Yeah, Myth or Tale.
No, there's this one that we just.
Oh, sorry.
That's just about to arrive. That's originally another one that we're translating into French, and it's a game originally by Cryptozoic, who are some of our friends from the United States. And we actually did this is Pantone the game. I don't know if you know what a Pantone is.
Yeah, it's for the.
It's basically how to pick the better,
choosing the color,
very precise colors for printing in the printing business. And so this game is a game, and I didn't unzip the cards, but the idea is kind of like a Pictionary, but instead of drawing the picture, you're going to use those little color samples that look like a Pantone thing to basically create, like I have an example here, to create patterns. That the other players.
Can find it. As you can see, who can it be? Reminds me of someone.
Yes, and so you're going to use these little color things to let the other players guess the character they're supposed to guess, because there's a whole bunch of character cards, and that's what we did when we made the French version. A lot of the characters that you had to guess in the American version were great characters if you were coming from sort of an American culture, but since we localized it into French, we added a lot of the really cryptic French things that only people from France would know about, like Astérix, Obélix, and things like that, and Lucky Luke, and characters that we grew up with, as well as a lot of the characters that were in Cryptozoic games. So there's a lot of references to movie characters, to comic characters, and all kinds of guys, video games. And so each, I don't want to spoil it too much, so I'll show it from a distance. Basically, when it's your turn to be the artist, you get a little card like this. And this one is a character from Final Fantasy VII. I'm not going to say which one. If you can read from there, that's great. If not, that's great too. And on the card, so you have the name of the character, and you're going to have to draw the character using these. And then each player in turn is going to have to try and guess who I made. So you're going to do a guess, if you see this, you're going to say right away, well, it's Princess Leia.
Oh.
And so you guessed without me giving you any hints.
I was thinking about the Pope.
Oh, you thought it was the Pope?
Yeah.
No, it's not the Pope. So I'm going to give you another guess. She's from a movie.
Princess Leia?
Ah, Princess Leia. So you used one guess, and on the cards it tells you if you use no hints, you get 5 points, and so we both get 5 points.
Okay.
If you use one hint, we both get 4 points, and then you become the artist, and everybody else has to guess. And it's a game that can play up to 20 players, because really it doesn't. Anybody can take a guess. So it plays with a lot of players, and it's a lot of fun to try and see everything that people come up with. And if you go, I think during this to our social media, we already have some people who did like examples of stuff that they did with the pontoon colors, and then some of them are really funny, some of them are really good. So that's another one that we have in the boat. No, this one's not in the boat. This one's in the warehouse. It's getting closer. Pontoon le jeu, Pontoon the game, originally from Cryptozoic and now in French, and by Don't Panic Games, and in Spanish by Gen X, our good friends over there. So there we go. Yes. Okay.
For the next segment, I will just have 2 announcements for next year. I won't show you anything, but it's interesting. The first one is Gutenberg. Gutenberg is the guy who makes the first book.
He went to the moon?
No.
Oh no, it's the printing press.
Yeah, the printing press.
Yes.
So, as you can guess from the name, it's about letters, about words.
Yes.
And this game is a game from Bruno Feduti. Maybe you have heard of it.
The famous Bruno Feduti.
Famous Bruno Feduti. Yeah. And it's a flip and a white game. So
a flip and write?
Yeah, so it's like a roll and write, but with cards and no dice.
Okay.
And each turn we are going to reveal cards with letters on. For example, the T, G, this thing. And you have on your paper you have a square, a grid.
A grid.
A grid, and you have to put a letter on the grid to form some words. The more words you have, the more points you have at the end. You need to have 4 or 5 letters words.
Yes.
And if you manage to have a cross between 2 words, you have more points.
Okay.
And you have also some special powers, like I can replace a letter, I can erase a letter I put before, kind of stuff. So it's a very interesting game. It's a mix between Scrabble and roll and write.
And roll and write, yes.
And
it's like speed Scrabble with
what's interesting is even if you don't, you can also play without the powers. If you're really a good Scrabble player, you can don't use the power
you can just use the letters that you get
and receive a bonus point at the end of the game.
If you don't use any powers, you get bonus points.
You get bonus point. So we have this one, and it's of course it's going to be about the press printing. So with you can imagine the typos.
Try to set all the little letters in the right place to do the printing.
The second one is special to me because I'm the designer of the game.
You're the designer of the game.
I'm the designer. For people who know it, it's what's called Badass Force.
Badass Force.
So Badass Force, it's a bluffing game about the 80s movie.
About 80s movie?
Yeah, so it's like the Expendables bluffing game. So you play with Schwarzenegger, Stallone. It's not them. It's look-alike.
They just look a lot.
Look like. So it's a game who was on Kickstarter last year, no, 2 years ago. Sorry, 2 years ago, and so Don't Panic Game is
going to be
publishing it with no Kickstarter. This time it's going to
just
be
as the retail version.
Yeah, and it's not sure, but we want to have 2 boxes, one for the 80s and one for the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. So one is going to be the VHS one, and one is going to be the DVD one.
The DVD one
with some. More modern heroes like The Rock, Van Diesel, and for people who knew the Kickstarter, it's going. We are completely changing the artwork and the design of the game.
Oh, we're completely redesigning the game.
Redesign it. It's going to be the same rules, almost.
Same mechanics.
Same mechanics, but different
new artwork.
Different artwork. And so, maybe you can talk about Mythos Tale now.
I can do one more and then I can do both.
Yeah.
Let me see. Because I also have another one that we did with Gen X.
Oh.
So Gen X from Madrid. We have another Rick and Morty game coming for you in French. And this one is The 100 Days of Rick and Morty. And we've done a few games about Rick and Morty, especially the ones with Cryptozoic, that are usually based on a specific episode. But this one is more about an entire season of Rick and Morty inside the box. You're going to be traveling the multiverse, trying to get really strange resources so that Rick can help you, I don't know, save the multiverse. And there's floating cats around. It's a programming game where each turn you're going to sort of do a hidden program of what you're going to do this turn. So everybody's going to set their pieces beforehand in a hidden fashion, and then we're going to go out into the board and play cards that sort of show items and events and all kinds of things from the game. So again, what I have here is the English version, because that one, oh actually what I have is the Spanish version. It's even better. But you can show the art of the game, and every single card is basically a reference to some of the episodes. And yes, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching all of Rick and Morty, just to get the right names in French for some of the cards. I don't know. Each card is part of a certain episode. And that one's coming soon. So that's Rick and Morty 100 Days, and we'll talk about. I'll talk a lot more about it once I have the books in French. And then the other one you wanted me to talk about was Mythos Tales. Mythos Tales is a game that had already 2 printings in English. I don't know if it's in other languages. This one was the original printing is from 8th Summit, Mythos Tales. And there was a second printing by Grey Fox Games, and we're doing this one with Grey Fox Games. We took their version of the game. It's basically it's an investigation game, a little bit like Sherlock Consulting Detective, but set in the Cthulhu mythos. The city that you're going to explore throughout this game is the city of Arkham, and you, as part of the University of Miskatonic, where you work for Professor Armitage, that we saw in the other game, to try and solve a bunch of mysteries that are happening in the city of Arkham. And so it works pretty much like Sherlock, where you have a book of investigations which might be shaped differently for our version. This is the version we got. And there's a number of investigations, and each investigation is identified by a location on the map of Arkham. And so you're going to walk around the map of Arkham trying to follow clues and to find clues and follow evidence, trying to figure out what usually horrible creature is doing a very bad things hidden in Arkham.
The newspaper.
You also have newspaper there. Yes. Each investigation you get the newspaper of that day to investigate so you might have clues in the articles, or you might maybe have clues in this newspaper that you use in an investigation that's set a little later, one of the further investigations. So you have to make sure you read this if you want all the clues, because some of the investigations are a little hard. We tried some of them, but there were a few problems with the English versions. Some of the indications were not done correctly, and there was a few printing problems, and some clues.
So you are fixing it.
And what we're doing is we're actually taking a lot of time to put everything back on the table for each investigation to make sure that the follow through is correct, and that you can actually get the right results at the end of the investigation, because some of the investigations had a few glitches, but we're working a lot to correct them, because we thought that because Sherlock Detective Conseil is a really good game, and to play the same kind of gameplay, or the same kind of gameplay mechanic where we can be 2 players or 3 players, you can do it by yourself, or you can do it with your friends, and still like delve into the story, which is kind of a little bit like a role-playing game.
I don't want to spoil it too much, but when we play we have the Dreamlands,
Yeah, there's
so there is one more layer.
Yeah, when you add a layer, because in one investigations you'll find out it's not really a big spoil. In one of the investigations happens both in the real world and in the dream world. If you're familiar with the Cthulhu mythos, you know that there's an alternate reality where different things happen differently in Cthulhu. And so the idea of mixing that kind of gameplay in the Cthulhu world was just too good an opportunity to pass. And so we're working hard to make it the best possible Cthulhu investigation game.
How many cases in
I think there's 8 cases. 8 different cases in the book.
Okay, nice.
Mythos Tales, and that's we're finalizing the translation. We're still working on a lot of ironing things, so it's like yours, like 2021. We hope the sooner the better. Maybe for FIP.
So
for FIP, no.
Next year we have 2 projects coming to Kickstarter. Maybe we can say a word about them. So
really quick word, yeah.
Quick word, because you can find more information on other video we made during the Essen Fair, or we are going to make, because one is tomorrow. So there is the Escape Quest.
Right, and Escape Quest and.
So Escape Quest is a line of magazine books. It's a mix between them, and it's part Choose Your Own Adventure, part Escape Room.
Yes.
And so it's a quite successful line in French. We have 10 issues now.
This is the first one.
The first one, and it's we try to make them in English.
So we're looking for partners to make it in English, but right now.
So we are talking
in French. There's some of them are already.
Yeah, in Korean, in
German,
Polish, Spanish.
So yes.
So we try to make them in English by Kickstarter, and we will talk more about this tomorrow.
You brought it up, so I'm just going to explain.
There will be a bit of showing of everything we made on this line tomorrow.
But since you mentioned them, I'm just going to explain really quick what they are. Basically, yes, it's a mix, because here at Don't Panic Games, we're part of the same group as another company, which is a book publishing company called Inis Edition. And we sort of try to bring together the know-how of both companies together. And so these are books or magazines, because normally they're quarterly, so there's one every 3 months. And they are, like you said, they're choose your own path, like the old time books, where if you want to go left, go to page 124. If you want to go right, go to blah. But they're mixed with escape rooms, escape games, where in order to find the next page to go, each part of the story has a puzzle. This one is pretty simple. This one's a maze. So you have to solve the maze to get the indication of what the next page is going to be in the story. And so it's not so much that you do the choices, but you have to find clues and use the information of the text to sort of guess and solve the puzzles that are on each page to advance through the story. And they play, you can play it by yourself, you can play it with 3-4 friends. It's usually a little faster if you play at least 2, because people think in a way that one person will know how to solve a puzzle and then another one will know how to solve a puzzle. If you play by yourself and you're really good, or if you play 2 or 3, usually it takes about 3 hours to solve all the puzzles. If you're good, it takes 3 hours. Takes some people a lot longer.
Each issue has a designer, famous designer.
Yes, both.
For example, the first one is there is a video about it.
Yes.
It's the Team Kadema who. So it's.
We saw Toho the other day.
Theo Rivière, but there is also Antoine Bozard, Ludovic Maublanc.
And they're the ones who did the Naruto games.
Yeah. So.
But each one has a different author, a different designer, and a different artist for the entire book.
And each universe is
cool.
different.
Yes, each issue, because we like to share all the geek universes, and each issue is like sort of an homage to one of the famous geek universes. So you have, I'll let you guess who that is an homage to. But then you have stuff like virtual reality, and Alan Quatermain, exactly. Get that reference. Virtual reality, because we're all kind of gamers. We have a special issue for kids with much simpler puzzles, and then a little story where you get to learn about animals and things like that. Cyberpunk. We had the idea before we knew about the game.
Cthulhu.
This is about witchcraft and mystery and the occult. We have one on Harry Houdini, because very interesting character. There's one on escaping Alcatraz. We have one where you get to be a young new superhero going to a superhero academy. And then we have one, they're not in the right order, but it's not too bad. You can read them in any order. And this is Arsène Lupin.
And
I don't know if he's famous outside of France. Arsène Lupin, I think he is. He's the master.
He has a Netflix series.
What was there? Yeah. He's a cat burglar. He's the best burglar in history. And in each of those you have a different story.
And the next one is Mars.
The next one is Mystery on Mars. Yes.
Okay.
And then we have another special issue which is on Achtung Cthulhu. Yeah. Cthulhu set in World War II.
And the second big project on Kickstarter, you did a video yesterday.
Yes.
It's a fighter.
Fighters of the Pacific, and of course I don't have.
Of course you don't have it.
Fighters of the Pacific. It's done with Didier Danchet, who is our friend from Capsicum and now works with us at Dompany Game, where it's a tactical air battle during World War II, where you're gonna have either you'll play as the Americans or the Japanese, and you'll have a whole bunch of planes in front of you. To move in a tactical war game with like each plane has very simple rules, but you get to move different squadrons and dogfight between the clouds, and you get to do torpedo runs on destroyers and aircraft carriers. And if you like movies like Battle of Midway or Tora 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 or the Black Sheep Squadron. Then you're gonna love this game because it gives you that feel of dogfighting and doing split essays.
I know the French name.
Tête brûlée in French. Yeah.
Okay.
Voilà.
So we have two more projects. I think they are going to be on Kickstarter, but not yet. So that's why we put them at the end of this.
They are going to be in Kickstarter, and we don't know when. The Fighters of the Pacific is coming soon. I think it's November 21st. I had the date yesterday.
The first one is a game from Maxime Badal and Jean-Romain Criot, and it's a universe we already did with one game. Yeah. It's a return to this universe. It's Attack on Titans. I never know.
So Attack of Titans.
Attack on Titans Tactics. It's the code name of the project. If I had to sum up the game, it's Zombicide in 3D.
Zombicide, in 3D with Titans.
With Titans.
Yes.
So it's miniature games with a lot of miniatures from different size, because in the game
Titans have different sizes. Some of them
size. And so where you have to use the landscape to fight them. And the landscape, we will have these buildings, and you can climb on buildings.
The difference with Zombicide is that yes, you do have the buildings on the board. You actually have physical buildings, and so you can climb the roofs and jump from building to building, because they have jetpacks, and jump on the back of a Titan to try and kill him and all kinds of stuff.
And like that. It's a very tense game, because in the anime you cannot fight a Titan by yourself. No. It's very hard to kill a Titan.
It has to be a team
we try to have this in the game, and to have this really strong cooperative aspect. So you really need to use what the other do to fight a Titan, and you're very happy when you kill one.
Yes.
And it was a huge balancing work to do that, to have this this feeling in a game.
I remember the first time I played, we killed the Titans in 2 seconds. The second time I played, we did 2 feet and the Titans squished us. But now it's much.
It's much. And so you have all the characters from the anime. It's for now it's based on the first season.
Like our previous game in the same universe.
Yeah. So maybe can expand it later. And what can I tell you? So we have a campaign in the game, so you can play almost all the big episodes from the season, and you also have some independent missions to just practice. And one big aspect of the game will be the morale issue. The thing is, sometimes your character are very big despair.
They sink into despair.
Yeah, and
they get really
they
sad.
don't react all the same.
Okay.
Some are getting stronger.
Yes.
And some are really losing everything. So there is this interesting part where you say, okay, if we manage to save this guy, the morale is going up. Maybe it's better for me, but not for me.
The choices are different depending on the character that you're playing.
So, and I think we have 6 characters now as player characters.
Okay.
Maybe more. Okay. And the last one, I think it's the one who have the most questions.
Everybody's waiting for it.
Everybody is waiting for it. I'm sure. So it's the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. So it's a game we show at SN last year.
Yes.
It was even possible to play it.
Last year, because we were there.
Because we were there. It was so great. And after SN, we
played it a lot at SN. And
a
lot of people gave us ideas and feedback, which is...
So there was a lot of feedback from the game. The other thing is, it's a game based on a Japanese brand.
IP, license.
And so we had to check with the Japanese if it was okay for them to do the thing.
And that's one of the things we do well at Don't Panic Games, is we kind of know what to say when we have people from Japan who, because they work in a certain way to make sure that they protect their really valuable property.
The thing is, COVID happens.
And then of course,
And because of the COVID, we took a lot of time, because it was difficult to play test, difficult to work on the game, but also it was difficult to review the game for the Japanese, because it's hard to meet and
je vois le bureau.
So our boss is...
you can say hi, Cédric, you can say hi because we're live, c'est cool.
We're live. Okay, so it was hard to check the game from the Japanese part, so we are late on this project, we know, but it's for a good reason. From the feedback of last year, we took the game and said, okay, how can we improve the game? And we work a lot with the designer, with Ronnie, to improve the game on every aspect of the game. So we work a lot of the deck building part, because it's a deck building, to make it a very good deck building by itself. I'm a huge deck building fan myself, so I try to help on this. So now it's a game where when you play a card, you really ask yourself why you are playing the card. You can play the card for helping the other or for yourself, and you have this really big choice of do I keep it for myself, or do I help my friends now?
Yes, okay.
So it's the first part. The second thing is the game is based on a board, maybe with figurines, with miniature, but not sure yet. There is a board, and we were not using this board enough for me. So we tried to use this board with more effects, more things to do on the board. For example, the way your characters are on the board has an effect on what you do. For example, if you have a sniper two tiles away from you, he is going to be more effective.
Okay, yeah.
Little thing like this. And the third one was the asymmetric aspect of the game.
Yes, because originally one player was
playing the bad guy, is literally this big hacker is hacking the city, and it's something I personally want to have in the game.
To keep that in the game, yeah.
Yeah, they have this hacking part of the city.
Mm-hmm.
The way it was, I'm a big asymmetric fan myself.
Mm-hmm.
I did a game about that, and I wanted to be as fun to play the bad guys and the good guys.
Yes.
So we change a lot of things from the bad guys. Now it's not all the good guys are playing and next the bad guy. No, it's one good guy is playing, the bad guy is playing, one good guy. And so it's more dynamic.
There's a different rhythm.
More reactive, different rhythm, and more aggressive also for the hacker part. And more hidden aspects. You can play things you don't know what you really don't know what the hacker is doing unless you go to see or you investigate to see what it is.
And the hacker can use the board against the players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is really more tension in the game, more rhythm, and I think it's going in the right direction to be better.
Do you think there's still a lot of work left on it? Probably.
I think there is a lot of balancing and work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, some work from to approve what we did.
The approval part. Yeah,
the
approval
Part.
process.
No, I cannot give you a release date. Say okay, it's this day. It's when it's ready.
Yes.
The sooner is the better, but
because it's an important enough
I
IP.
think it's our biggest project.
And we want to get this one completely right. Yeah.
And I think it's all from me.
Is that all we got?
Yeah. It's a lot. Of course, we have plenty of more games.
I have more. I know I have more.
You have one more.
I have tons more. We also have DC Forever Evil just came out, which is an extension for DC comic games. I'm also working on this one. We haven't fixed the name in French. This is Noises at Night. It's a really cute little hidden identity game where you have to figure out who's making noises at night in the middle of the night, and there's can be different members of the family, and there's also a little ghost, and you have to figure out where and what the noise is. And again, it's going to be in our same line of little boxes with for short games for 2 to 4 players. And I know I have more, but I guess that's enough.
Yeah.
I can find more.
Let's keep some games from in 2 years.
For 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
We also have Hostage Negotiator is coming out in French. Yeah. Crime Waves is an extension, and we're doing it's a standalone, but we're also doing a special edition box where you can have all the materials for Hostage Negotiator, which is another great game. All right, I'm done. Fine.
Should have to make a crossover with kidnapping.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're good. Cover everything. Yeah.
Yes, we'll do this again a little bit more structured. Maybe keep you posted on our work in progress. I know that we wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. And thank you for watching any of it if you did, and have a great rest of digital Essen. Come play our games on Tabletopia. If you go through Essen and you look at our website, you'll see that we have Above, Cowboy Bebop, Don't Wake Up Cthulhu, and Yozu that you can play anytime on Tabletopia.
And remember, we have also a little contest during the fair. So you have 6 questions to answer. If you are right, you can win one of our game of your choice every day during the Essen fair. So that's why. And the end of the world. And the end of the world. We're gonna die. Yeah. That's because we shouldn't. I don't have the book. We should not have. Don't wake up, Cthulhu. Oh yeah. Yeah. Don't wake up. It's this guy. All right. Bye everybody. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.